This week's parsha begins with Moshe recounting his reflections upon the last 40 years of the Jewish people traveling in the desert and many of the instances and lessons that can be learned from there. Moshe begins talking about the aftermath of Mount Sinai after the Jewish people received the divine revelation of the Torah from God himself. It says, Moshe says that God said to me at that time, Rav lachem sheves b'har hazeh. It's enough sitting at this mountain. Pnu isu lachem. It's time to start traveling and start moving forward. And this seems to be somewhat odd because after all, the Jewish people at that point were not at any beach or bar, but rather they were at Mount Sinai. And they were soaking in this divine revelation at the time. So what is the urgency and the need to go ahead and say, Rav lachem sheves b'har hazeh? It's enough to stay at this mountain. You know, this really underscores a great lesson for us in life because many times we have great inspiration and we have many plans to go ahead and embark on noble ideas, but many times they get stuck in the planning stage and we seem to move out of that phase. And sometimes it's necessary for us to go ahead and have a real action plan which translates good ideas into concrete action. And it's not just as wonderful as it is to formulate ideas and have goals and objectives, but it's also important to make sure that those are translated into reality. And that's exactly what happened at the time of Mount Sinai. The Jewish people just had this great revelation, and they had all these ideas, and they learned all these lessons with all these mitzvahs. But that's only half the story. The other part of the story, it's important for us to go ahead, it was important for them to go ahead and implement it in their lives. Folks, in our lives, many times we hear great ideas, and we're moved by powerful inspiration that we may encounter. But that's only part of the story. Let us remember the lesson of Moshe and the aftermath of Mount Sinai. And let us always remember how to go ahead and translate that into practical implementation. Have a wonderful Shabbos.